Hello, 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 and welcome. I am Diane Britton Dunham, and I am a Gullah Creole artist. I want to take a few minutes and introduce myself if you haven't heard of or seen any of my art or you've never visited my channel before. Um, Gullah Creole art is art that's inspired by my 40 years of living in the Gullah Sea Islands of the South Carolina. When you live in a community for most of your life or over half of your life, that community becomes very important to you. And as an artist, you can't help but integrate that life into your own. When I came here, some like maybe 41 years ago, I was adopted by this community and I was taken care of by this community, and it's my family and my home. The Creole part of my art is based on the other part of my life, a very young life. Growing up, spending my summers in Louisiana, and my mother and my grandmother's um, heritage and the lineage is from there. My father is from there as well. Although my father's ancestry does reconnect to the Gullah life of the Sea Islands, the Creole part of my life focuses mostly on the stories and the history that I heard from my mother and my grandfather and my family members that lived there, and also the history and the research that I did in finding out so much about that culture. So there are commonalities, okay, and I do like to try to feature those commonalities in my artwork, but not to diminish the uniqueness of the Gullah Sea Islands. And their uniqueness comes from the isolation of these islands and not being connected to the mainland until at least the 40s, and in so doing, retained so much of till it became a unique oasis of African culture here, and it's still that way today. My art is considered vernacular folk art and fine art. And what that means is that I am someone that tells stories with my art, stories of my community, and having and putting community into my artwork. I say it's vernacular folk art and also fine art as well. Um, this particular painting that we're going to talk about today is pretty special because of the inspiration behind the painting. It's called Life on Laura. And Life on Laura was created for the Slave Dwelling Project. The Slave Dwelling Project's first conference, actually, in 2014, which was held in historic Savannah, Georgia, which is our neighbor and also Gullah country. Parts of the low country is there as well, the lower part of Georgia. The Slave Dwelling Project is very unique in that it was started by a gentleman named Joseph McGill. And what he started doing was actually sleeping in these slave cabins on these plantations and historical sites. And it has become quite internationally known. Um, and he started doing this to bring notice to these sites for preservation and also because they are truly sacred spaces. The spaces of our ancestors are truly sacred spaces. So this particular painting was one that I did for the very first premier conference that they had. He's had many conferences since then, and I have been honored to have been invited to be in several of those exhibits. But it's even more special, more so special that it's I was a part of the very first one. For more information about slave dwelling project.org, I put it down in the comments so that you can go check it out there. Okay, one of the great things about being an artist in let's say vernacular artist, an artist that tells the story of your community, you become a historian because almost everything that you paint, you research and you study the background. And since this was the very first slave dwelling project, I was challenged to focus more on the building and make the building more of the subject of my painting than the actual people. And so this particular cottage that I painted is called a Sherry cottage and a Sherry cabin. And it's a double quarter cabin, double quarters cabin, not pattern, double quarters cabin. I'm thinking about the Underground Railroad quotes that I do sometimes, and that's another video for another day. But it's a double quarter cabin, which means two families actually live in this one house here. The there's two doors, two entrances, so two rooms, and a family here, family there. Mud steps, okay, leading up into the house, usually made of a tin roof that's turned red, marks the oxidization, okay, of it. Some of them usually have a window, but my reference for this painting did not have one of the wood windows in it. I have done slave dwelling paintings where you would see a shuttered window in there, but this particular one did not have one. My reference was Laura Plantation. And a little bit about Laura Plantation is that it was a Creole plantation on the west bank of the Mississippi. Its site is in St. James Parish, Louisiana, and it's included in the Louisiana African American Heritage Trail. And since I painted this, I believe that sometime after that, it was actually the plantation actually caught fire. I guess it was supposed to have been an electrical fire where it burned. But you can Google the history on Laura Plantation, Louisiana, which is the one that I chose to paint. The Sherry double quarter cabin is probably a prototype for the shotgun house. And as we know, the shotgun house has become somewhat of a symbol of African American culture in the United States. And no one's really quite sure why it's called a shotgun house, but it's believed because they say you could take a shotgun and shoot, and the bullet will go straight through one door and straight out the back. The shotgun houses, the prototype for them that you probably see are a little more elegant and stylish. Um, they believe that they probably started in Haiti, okay, from the culture there. That is also part of Creole culture. These Creole houses and Creole homes, but this particular double quartered cabin is known as a type of quarters that was used in for enslaved Americans. And can you imagine, two families living in this? And this particular painting, I decided to depict um, two women and a child, a little girl in this painting. I am a figurative artist, and so in most of my artwork, you will find people, and primarily women. I paint women of the African diaspora and primarily of the African American Southern history, but I do paint women of the diaspora, many cultures, and women of color from around the world. In this particular painting, you see that the little girl is standing behind, presumably her mother here, and she's shielding her somewhat in this particular painting. Here we have possibly the other occupant in the quarters. It could be generational. This could be three generations here. She's an older woman. She's sitting and she's resting. She's under a tree. And this is one of the commonalities of the two cultures. Here's Spanish moss hanging on the tree. Let me show you a little more detail of the painting. This particular painting is 16 by 20 on canvas. It's 16 by 20 on canvas. It is gallery wrapped and it is painted all around. This is an original painting. I get so many questions on, do you have any original paintings? Do you have any original paintings? And so I decided to do some videos showing some of the original paintings that I do have at this current time. They are available. And if you would like more information on how to obtain one of my original paintings, email me at Diane Britton Dunham at gmail.com. Or you can send me a private message on here. And as you can see that there, and it's here. And it is, of course, ready to hang. And once again, this particular painting is called Life on Laura. And it was created for, again, a very special project in 2014, as you see on the original signature there. Okay, now send me your questions and your comments. I really do want to hear from you. I love interacting with people. Visit me on Facebook. Go to my page, like my page, like. Look at all my pictures, like my pictures, comment on my pictures, visit my page, The Art of Diane Britton Dunham on Facebook. Visit me on Instagram, talk to me, direct message me, DM me. I am at Diane's Art on Instagram or Diane Artist on Instagram. Diane Artist on Instagram and The Art of Diane Britton Dunham on Facebook. And thank you so much for hanging with me. This went a little longer than I expected. So if you hung with me until the end, I truly appreciate it. I'll be back next week with another painting. And stay safe, y'all. Stay safe and healthy out there. All right. Bye.